after this draft because I killed this draft. Very, very much killed this draft in a league with super flex and quarterbacks.
Okay.
I definitely killed this draft. So let's go ahead. I'm going to throw up my team first.
Go for it.
And so here's the deal. I'm going to put mine up first. Let me
Okay.
get it set up, and then we're going to go from there. I got to figure out what I'm doing here. There we go. All right, so here is mine right here. This is my team name is Slim Pickens.
Slim Pickens.
And there's a reason for that. Is because I targeted one wide receiver at the back end, George Pickens, who was, according to Fantasy Pros, the number one sleeper wide receiver in all of football. And so let me just go ahead and break this down for you. First overall, well, not first overall, but my quarterback situation. Because I had a strategy. I was going with 3 quarterbacks. Okay. But I was going to get that third quarterback at the end of the draft, which I did. So my 2 quarterbacks that I'm going to be starting on a regular basis are Justin Herbert and Matt Ryan. And you look at that Matt Ryan, you're like, why'd you pick Matt Ryan? Well, if you go down to my wide receivers, it's because I have Michael Pittman right there. So I stacked my super flex with Michael Pittman, who is a top 14 receiver in fantasy football, according to Fantasy Pros as well. Going down the list, Nick Chubb at running back. Okay. Travis Etienne. Okay. Cordarrelle Patterson, steal in the 7th, 8th round. Dual threat guy that is a receiver, running back. Nobody really knows, but
His
he is
magic
a
is coming down.
no,
His
sir.
magic is coming down. All that magic he did last season is a
No,
wrap on.
sir. It is not David Montgomery at RB1 out of Chicago that I got in, I think, like the 4th or 5th round. And then James Robinson, who I spelled ETM with. So I've got my handcuffs there. James Robinson will be activated for week 1. So it is an exciting time to be a running back on the Slim Pickens team. Now, my wide receiver core, Tyreek Hill. We know about Tyreek Hill.
You don't even like Tyreek Hill.
You're right. I don't. But you know what? He's on my fantasy team because he's a good doggone fantasy player. I don't have to like the guy to employ him, right? Like
you didn't, but you don't like his upside. We were just talking about him and Tua and how you were scared of that matchup. You thought he could possibly take a slide down. Now he's your guy, huh?
But he also is trade bait because other people in the league are going to love. And you got to understand this about Slim Pickens. This roster that you see in front of you right now will not be the same roster that ends the season because I trade. And I trade often. Tyreek Hill, Michael Pittman, Treylon Burks, a very good receiver out of Arkansas that will have a great time in Tennessee this year. Then my guy, George Pickens in Pittsburgh, who's going to be phenomenal. And tight end, Pat Freiermuth. That is my team.
And who's QB1 that was just named to be throwing to George Pickens?
Mitchell Trubisky.
Okay.
But
gotcha.
but he's not going to have the job long. Realize how terrible he is. And who did I pick up with my very last pick in the draft in round 13? Kenny Pickett, who will be the starter in Pittsburgh by the end of the year and who will be throwing to Pat Freiermuth and George Pickens at the same time. So not only did I stack, but I double and triple stacked. And my team is looking good. Then we get to your team.
Yeah,
The
let's get to a
Dalvin and
real team.
Hobbs.
Hey, there we go. Let's
Let's
talk about
get
a
to the
real team. Let's get to that.
Okay.
This is what a real team. He tried to prop up his and give as much self-esteem as possible. Let's talk about some real football players, shall we? Lamar Jackson looking to get paid in a bounce-back season with all the talent in the world. Again, in a division where I think the Baltimore Ravens are slept on, I think he's going to bounce back and be just fine. Jared Goff with new weapons around him, I think he'll be dangerous. Dalvin Cook, a top 3 running back whenever he's on the field. Antonio Gibson, so slept on and underrated. I think he's due for a big season. Tony Pollard backing up Ezekiel Elliott in the Cowboys, where Zeke has been putting on so much weight where he might not even be the starter at this point moving forward.
That was a good pickup. Tony Pollard
That's
was a good
real.
pickup. That was a good pickup.
Mark Ingram, I'm really excited for. I mean, he backed up very well and vultured a lot of touchdowns away from Alvin Kamara. I think he can still do that this coming season. My receivers, I'm super high on. Shout out to my guy, Keenan Allen, who's going to be taking all those touchdowns from your guy, Mr. Justin Herbert, who is your quarterback on your team. The real real star breakout receiver that's coming from Miami will be Sir Jalen Waddle. I'm so excited for what Waddle can do with some attention being taken away from him. Devontae Smith, who we're going to see against the Lions in week 1, I think he's due for a big season with, again, the same notion, attention being taken away from him, where he'll see one-on-one matches with the Eagles. Tyler Boyd, another star-studded all-star receiver tandem in Cincinnati. Brandon Ayuk, I think, is going to get a lot of targets with Trey Lance in San Francisco. Dalton Schultz, my guy, a breakout star,
That was
a
a good pickup.
very good
That was a good
pickup
pickup.
tight end, who I think is going to have a top 5 tight end year. And Mike
Good pickup.
Gesicki, who was horrible for me 2 years ago, but I'm giving you a second chance to redeem yourself. I don't know what else I need to say. Those are some dogs I got on my roster. And
They are. They are. But here's the deal, right? Like, you're all hyped about Tyler Boyd, who's solid, but he's also the number 3 option, maybe even the 4th option behind their tight end.
I have no worries about that. That's cool. You can't throw to Jamar Chase every single play. You can't just dig it out to him.
T. Higgins, and they
is
have
cool
Joe
too.
Mixon out of the back end. So I don't know, man. I think head to head, I think I beat you.
You think that, and that's cool that
No,
you
I
think that. I
actually
want your
know that.
self-esteem to be high.
So
I don't want you to be
let's
sad
put-
on this broadcast.
Let's put the Billie Jean aside for a second, that bet. Because
Okay.
listen, like, you got to be, like, honest. My team is not finishing last. Okay? My team's not finishing last. It was a pretty good draft. I'll tell you that you had a pretty good draft as well. Here's where I
appreciate that.
think the people really want things, the nuts and bolts of things. When we face off head to head, and I would hope that we face off head to head at least twice. Okay?
Yes.
When we do that, when we face off head to head, the loser buys a round of golf in the spring.
Okay. That's a bet. That's
You
a
down
bet.
for that?
I'm with
It's
that. I
on
can do
tape.
that. Okay.
Now, I will let you know that I have made this bet previously with another creator on this, Matt Basson, who you did be on the box with one time.
Shout out to Matt.
Yeah, shout out to Matt. And I won that bet. So I'm just looking for free golf in the spring, and I'm okay with that.
You can, okay, no problem. Should we do something for who finishes with the best record?
We can, but that can be next week.
Okay. All
This
right,
is
cool.
this week. This is head to head, right?
Cool.
And I'm gonna go ahead and give those head to head teams again so that people can see them, right? Which team would you rather have? You can drop that in the comments.